Hey, let's go over some Spurs news and notes, and it's draft day. Let's get in our final picks.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs beat writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You want to go to FanDuel right now. Moment more. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. What are we talking about today? Quickly, some Spurs news and notes. And then it's today. Spurs NBA draft, number 4, number 8 picks. It is tonight. We're going to be giving our final picks at number 4 and number 8. And then look at the second round. You know, Spurs do have a couple pair of second round picks. What are some names that could be, going to San Antonio in that later stage of the NBA draft? We'll be joined by Jack Thompson, formerly of San Antonio Sports Star, to discuss that all and more. But yeah, can you feel it? Today is the day. We'll see who the newest members of the Spurs are going to be, or maybe not. If the Spurs end up trading them at the last minute, the picks that is, we'll find out later on out in New York City. But some Spurs news and notes to get you going right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, shout out George Hill. Yes, the former Spur, current Indiana Pacer, is hosting a basketball camp right here in San Antonio. For more information, go to kensfi.com/spurs.com. I bring this up is because not only is he hosting the camp, obviously, but he really hasn't forgotten his San Antonio roots. He still resides in San Antonio. He owns a ranch in the Hill Country. For those of y'all who don't know, that's north of San Antonio. Big ranch out there. And his father works in San Antonio with the city. So he's frequently here. And not to mention, during the pandemic, he raised food and much needed, just food for the first responders. So George Hill continues to not forget San Antonio. Again, if you want information about that camp, I believe it's starting, today. So if you want to register for it, go check it out right now. Again, kensfi.com/Spurs. In other Spurs news, kind of draft related, Francis Pacoma, but I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Dadier. I believe that's how you pronounce it. But anyway, Francis Pacoma, he had a chance to talk with me. I had a chance to talk with him recently, and he talked about how much in awe of Spurs Victor Wembanyama, he's put him in. He's just to be amazed at what Victor did in his rookie season, made an impact on Pacoma. He's slated as a late first round pick, so maybe he won't go to San Antonio. But nevertheless, if he does fall to the second round, maybe he could be on the board for the Spurs. But he just had a lot of good things to say about Victor, from, setting the bar high, setting the example. If you want to read that, my chat with Pacoma, you want to go to kensfi.com/Spurs right now. In other Spurs news, and there's a great segue into, our next segment. Odds makers, yes, they're putting out their final odds on who's going to go where, who's going to go number 1, number 2, number 3. But we care about number 4 and number 8. According to BetMGM, are going to pick a pair of guards at number 4 and number 8. At number 4, odds makers are projecting Stephon Castle going to San Antonio, and at number 8, Devin Carter. Both worked out with the Spurs, both met with them, both impressed San Antonio. Spurs do need a point guard or just guard depth. Those two guys could fill the need for them. For those of you who are just curious, I got the numbers here. Castle is at a plus 150 odds San Antonio, while Carter is at a plus 250 odds to land in San Antonio at number 8. And if you're interested to know, following at least number 4, Castle, odds makers have Donovan Clingan going to San Antonio with plus 300 odds and Reed Shepherd with plus 400. And then following Carter for the number 8 spot, the odds maker has Tijane Salaloon at plus 325 and Rob Dillingham at 650, plus 650. So looks like a pair of guards might be coming to San Antonio. We'll see what happens later on tonight. All right, there's your quick Spurs news and notes. When we get back, we're going to be joined by Jack Thompson to give our final picks for number 4, number 8. And we were in the Spurs war room, and then look at the second round. That and more right here on Locked On Spurs. eBay Motors, passion, drive, and patience. That's the formula for winning championships. and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, they got that. Exhaust kits, LED headlights, they got that too. So much more. You want to go to eBay Motors right now. So whether you're into power, speed, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit the first time, every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, you're not burning cash. With all the parts you need and the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that title. Those huge wins. Yeah, you want to go to eBay Motors right now, ebaymotors.com. Keep your ride or die alive right there. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to you as customers.
A Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked On Spurs, pass on what you have learned.
It wouldn't be NBA Draft Day 2024 without bringing back Jack Thompson. Jack, I had to bring you back for the day. You've been
Yes,
riding this
sir.
wave with me all off season, doing draft profiles, giving thoughts. The day is here, Jack. How you feeling?
Oh my gosh, man. I'm ecstatic, honestly. It's a huge day for the Spurs. I mean, we took, a giant leap forward in the process of getting
Yep.
back to a championship team last year with Wimby, and this is just the next step in building that championship roster. So it's gonna be what we
Yeah.
see us do tonight is going to be a big tell on, what the team's going to look like going forward. What kind of,
Mm-hmm.
free agents we're going to look for, if we're going guard, if we're looking for scoring wings. It's all going to start tonight on with who we draft. So I'm ecstatic. I'm so excited to see the
Yeah.
direction the Spurs are going in.
Yeah, for me, I'm curious because the mocks are all over the place. I mean, just all even till today, the bitter end,
Hmm.
it's still
Oh
Klingon
yeah,
number one, Sar
yeah.
number one, Risha Devin Carter at 4. I mean, what? Just like all over the map. I even got pushback. I did a segment with Ken's Five recently, and I was asked like, "Who do you got going number one?" And I said Klingon. And they said, "Oh my God, you don't know anything about the draft and everything." But that's the point. This draft is all over the place. I mean,
No
it
one knows.
literally is
Yeah.
just. I mean, I would not be surprised if Klingon went one. I don't think anybody would.
No, I
If
feel like
Yeah,
Klingon, Ricochet, and Sar, I mean, as of right now, that it seems like they've all got an equal shot to go number one. They've
yeah,
all spent their time atop
yeah,
the mocks, and it's going to come down to that final second tonight on who they decide to draft. So,
you know,
yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's the chances of like where everyone's going to go is crazy. I'm
yeah,
not sure I remember a draft with this much
yeah.
parity and who could go at what pick. So it besides what the Spurs do, it's going to be an exciting draft.
It really is. Make sure to follow him on X at Jack_Thompson. He's formerly with San Antonio Sports Star. And you can see your screen, he's got the 3-shot goggles going. You can see your screen what we're going to do with Jack. We're going to be giving our final 2 picks for each pick, basically. So Jack's going to give me 2 picks. He would like to see the Spurs take at 4. I'll do the same, then an 8, and then you see the pattern here. And then Jack is going to give us a quick primer on what to expect in the second round for the Spurs. We've been neglecting the second round. The Spurs do have 2 picks, I think 35 and 48. What can the Spurs do with that? Who are some names? Jack's going to fill you in all that in just a few minutes. All right, Jack, you've had plenty, weeks, months to sit on this. You are on the clock right now, buddy. You are representing the Spurs. Adam Silver is waiting for your card with the name on it. Who do you have on your final board at number 4? You get two picks at it. So who would you like to see the Spurs take?
Well, my first question is who were the first 3 picks? Who has gone
Okay.
1, 2, and 3?
Okay. Are
So
you
if
asking me or are
that
you
is
being
no,
rhetorical? Oh,
if I
sorry.
mean
Okay.
if it goes like, if it's any order of Klingon,
Yeah.
Ricochet, and Sar, we're up at 4. I mean, I gotta go with my guy. He's been top of my big board all year. Matas Buzelis. I would draft
I
him at
knew it.
4 if he
I
was
knew
there,
it.
and I would be ecstatic about it. I mean, the guy's a dog. He's been challenging Ricochet to one-on-ones and saying he doesn't want the smoke and all this stuff.
Ooh.
He's got the NBA body, 6'10", with a 6'10", 6'11"
Yeah.
wingspan. He's a combo forward, can be the roller or the handler in a pick and roll. He can shoot the ball. I mean, this is a prototypical wing for the NBA right now. So Matas at 4, no questions asked. Don't even have to think about it.
All right.
Now, if we take him at 4 and at 8, I think I would go probably Devin Carter at
Okay.
8 if we take Matas at 4. Just because we need some more guards.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I like him more. My other 3 there would be Cody Williams or Dalton Connect, and I would be ecstatic about either of those picks too. But just kind of, add some more depth to other places in the roster. Getting a dog like Devin Carter, been in the NCAA 4-year guy. It's got that Derek White, Drew Holiday prototype build where he's gonna attempt to lock up the best offensive guard on the other team. He can run the show at the point guard. He's made leaps and bounds with his shooting ability over the past couple years. So Devin Carter at 8 with Matas at 4. I feel like that's a fantastic draft, setting us up with, key components for a roster of the future.
It's funny you mentioned Matas. Yesterday on Locked On Spurs, we had your boy James Pledger. And to end the show, I was talking about how you're going to come on today. And he
Mhm.
goes, let me guess. He's all about Matas, right? And we out there in public, James just
Hey,
saying he
that's
knows you
fine.
already.
That's fine. That's just like when you said all you had to say was Lowry Markkinen, and I
Yeah,
knew that
he's
it was coming from James Pledger.
yeah,
I don't know how, look at Lowry Markkinen's game and
yeah.
look at um
Bucelis.
Bucelis. I mean, that's kind of the same. You got a
Oh,
big
shots fired,
scoring
Pledger.
forward.
Shots fired,
So
Pledger.
we're kind of on the same wavelength here, Pledge. But yeah, Matas at 4, I think, would be a phenomenal pick for the Spurs. Now,
All
on the
right.
flip side, we
Yeah.
go, say Matas, he's gone at
Yeah.
1 through 3, and we've got Castle and Klingon at 4. I'm going Stefan Castle. He's
Hmm.
probably number 2 on my big board for the Spurs. National champion, top
Yep.
10 in his class coming out of high school, McDonald's All-American. I mean, he has every accolade that you can possibly have coming up to this point in his career. So I think Stefan Castle,
Hmm.
he's got tremendous upside if he gets that shooting ability down. He's got everything, all the intangibles to be a lead guard for a championship team. He also, a dog on defense. He wants
Yeah.
to guard the best player on the team. And at 6'6", I mean, he can guard 1 through 3 easily, maybe 1 through 4, depending on who's the 4 is, with his intangibles and length and his strength. I mean, he's got everything going for him on defense. On offense, he's got good playmaking ability. He gets to the rack with his tremendous size and strength. And the only thing he needs work on is, that 3 ball. We
Yeah.
saw a little bit of it in college, but he's definitely got some room to grow there with that aspect. But again, that comes with time.
Hmm.
And he's further along, I would say, with his jumper than Jeremy was when we first got him. So not something I'm really worried about. But if it played out like that, Stefan Castle at 4, I'm extremely happy with
Hmm.
that. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
lead guard for your future. Ecstatic about that. And going down to the 8th pick, I'm still, with those 3. We win a guard, so we'll take Devin Carter out of the mix there. I'm not sure I'd want to go double
Hmm.
guard. So for me, I'd probably go, it's tough. Cody
Yeah,
Williams
it
or
is.
Dalton Connect. Cody
Yeah.
Williams, a little bit more of a project, younger guy, 18, 6'8", 6'11" wingspan. He shot around like 60% from 2 around the basket at under 200 pounds. So once that frame bulks up, he'll be a menace around the rim. He showed good
Hmm.
3-point shooting ability. He's already got that part of his game worked on, and just more time and reps, he could become a knockdown shooter. He's got the NBA pedigree with his older brother, a budding star for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Jalen Williams. We saw him blow up this last season next to Shea. And I think Cody Williams, a phenomenal pick at 8. On the flip side, you want a more ready player, come in right away, can step into a role and thrive in it. That's your guy, Dalton Connect. 6'5", 6'6", shooting guard, small forward, probably
Mhm.
the best shooter in the class. Definitely a very underrated off the dribble
Mhm.
attacker. I mean, he got to the rim a lot. He was dunking all over people with his tremendous vertical ability. He's a big, strong dude, so he can
Mhm.
play out of that mid post. He's got all the tools right now, and he's already, not a fully developed prospect, but he's on the fringe of being, the type of NBA player that we're going to see, and that's going to be a tremendous shooter and really just a guy with tremendous scoring ability all around that you can really put in as a microwave type guy, just
Oh yeah, for
instantly
sure.
hot out there.
Yeah.
So it's tough. I'd probably go Dalton Connect because we're
Okay.
getting a guy in Castle that's not a great shooter. You want to kind of offset that with a guy who can come in and be one of the premier shooters in the league in his rookie season. I mean, he's going to come in and be able to knock that shot down. So I'd probably go Stephon Castle, Dalton Connect with this other scenario. And that's
Yeah.
another draft that, I mean, we're getting two key pieces for a rotation, hopefully a championship rotation of the future. So Matas, Devin Carter, Stephon Castle, Dalton Connect, and right there as an outlier, wouldn't be mad at 8, Cody
Mhm.
Williams.
Yeah.
I think any combination of those two and at 4 and those 3 at 8 is an A+ draft for the Spurs, and we are dancing off into the offseason sunset.
You know, you mentioned a couple of the names that I have on my big board, but before I get to my picks here, I just want to circle back to Cody Williams. You're very high on him. Uh, you have him slotted at 8, but do you think even 8 sounds a little high for him, considering there's a lot more project in him than ready? Because the Spurs can't afford a project right now in their rebuild.
I'm not sure project is
Okay.
necessarily the right word. I mean, he's not a guy, you don't have to break his jump shot down and rebuild it. He's already got a good jump shot. He can play, on ball or off ball, handle the ball in the pick and roll, or be the screener at 6'8". It's more about getting his body NBA ready. I think that's more the project that it
Yeah,
is.
you can see in
He's
the
a
picture we
long,
have right now. Look how
wiry,
skinny he
skinny
is.
player,
Yeah.
and he definitely needs to add 15, 20 pounds of muscle to his frame. But besides that, I mean, his offensive game really just needs to be sharpened. Nothing needs to be rebuilt. So I think Cody Williams, not a basketball project, but the project in lies with him getting his body ready for the rigors of an 82
Yeah.
NBA season against, the best players in the world. So I think it's not as big a deal. I think, we saw Wimby, he was a beanpole when he first was
Yeah.
drafted, and towards the end of the season, the man was looking pretty yoked. I mean, he
Hmm.
probably put on 15 pounds of solid muscle this past year, so there's no reason that you couldn't add that to Cody Williams in a single season. So I'm not worried about it. I think 8 is a good spot for Cody Williams, and I think he's a little undervalued in this draft with what his offensive game could become.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are solid picks. You know, recently, I mentioned I did a chat with Ken's Fight TV, me and Casey, and I was asked the same question, like, who do you got for the Spurs at 4? I went. I'm sticking with this, Stephon Castle. And he's on the board. I'm taking him at number 4. He addresses the biggest need for the Spurs right now, a big guard. And you're right. His jump shot, outside shoot does need work. Look at the shot charts. I mean, it's kind of like yikes, like
Yeah.
how much are you shooting from the mid range? How much you from the 3 line? Cody. I mean, sorry, not Cody. Stephon. We need to get some time in here. Also, too, he did work out with the Spurs, so definitely the Spurs have him on his radar, and I think his fit with this young team, ability to play downhill, will work well. I don't think it takes a genius to say, "Oh, I'm Stephon Castle, and that is the man in the middle. I'm going to throw it to him." It shouldn't be that hard for even a rookie to get, and I think he'll
Hmm.
be able to adapt that as well. I like Castle at number 4 if he's on the board. Now, granted, remember already, Jack and I are under the assumption that Ricochet, Reed, and Sar are off the board. So that's the we're running the assumption right now. But and then my backup pick at number 4, I have Klingon. I think I would like to have Klingon in Spurs uniform. I know there was a report recently, I think via Draft Express, that the Spurs showed interest, or actually expressed interest in him, and actually did an interview with him. That report continued by saying the Spurs don't have any interest in pairing Wemby and Klingon, but considering the fact that Wemby does need a quality big next to him, no knock on Zach Collins, but can you imagine a young Klingon, a young Wemby, that tandem going up together in the NBA? I like the different skill sets they provide. Back to the basket, more of a paint guy with Klingon. And I think Klingon, because he's a big boy, he's ready made. He's NBA ready. We don't have to worry about the injury situation we have to do with Zach Collins. He's filled out. I think his IQ is sky high. I think he'll fit well with the Spurs. And I wouldn't mind seeing Twin Towers 2.0. I would not mind seeing that. And who knows, maybe the Spurs could parlay Klingon into a trade. If they really don't want to go with the Twin Towers, as that report say. So I'm taking Klingon and Castle if they're available at 4. Now, number 8. I'm going to stick with what I said during the Ken's 5 segment. I agree with you. I think Dalton Connect is the guy the Spurs should take. Athletic, rim runner, shoot the ball. Correct me if I'm wrong. He can create his own shot, correct?
Oh,
Believe he can. Yeah,
certainly, yeah.
yeah. And I like that shot creation that he provides. I think that'd be valuable for the Spurs. And then my backup pick at number 8 is Devin Carter. I know you're kind of not into the whole picking two guards. I think you said a little while ago. You're not like the Castle and I'm making this up, Dillingham or Dillingham and Carter. But I think this is a team that's I think this could shore up the point guard position. And I hate saying this because I don't like knocking on Trey Jones. I think he's a phenomenal player, solid player. But if they can boost that core up big time, that'll be good. I kind of stayed away from wings, and I get what you're saying with Matas Buzelas. I get that. I totally understand where you say that. But we got a guy, and I think he deserves his shine on the roster already. That's City Sissoko. I think I think Buzelas may eat up time from him. I think another wing guard. We got Vassell, you have, as of now, Keldon, and you got Sissoko. I like to see Sissoko get some run. But yeah, those are the 4 names that I have on my final big board. But notice we did not mention at all Nikola Topic. What's up with
Mm.
that? What's up with that, Jack?
I mean, like we've been saying, you talked to me, 3, 4 months ago. Topic's probably my guy. I mean, I was very
Yeah,
high on him, and then he was hurt, and they rushed him back, and he got hurt again. Then his measurables came out, and before that, they were saying he had a 7-foot wingspan. Came back that he has a negative wingspan to his height. He doesn't shoot the ball very well. He's not a lockdown defender, but he is a pick and roll magician. He's got that going for him. He's easily the
yeah,
best passer in the draft, probably the best like floor general point guard in the draft. So he's got a lot going for him. There's a lot to be desired, but he's just doesn't crack it for me at this point.
yeah. Last check, I think he fell out of the top 10 already. Like he's now
Yeah,
hovering in the, a little past 10, like 12, 13 around there. So his stock has dropped off.
which could be
Um,
an insane value if you can,
yeah,
if you can get him that late and he does turn it around, could be
yeah,
an insane value.
yeah. Would you be surprised if the Spurs pick him? I wouldn't be surprised.
Hmm.
I don't think I would be.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I would not be happy about it.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
at
think
8.
Spurs fans would
Maybe
be
at
flipping
8.
tables if that happened. Most Spurs fans. I know there's some still out there that think that Topic is the guy, but yeah, no, I think either way you slice it, whether the Spurs take the players that Jack mentioned or I mentioned, the Spurs are going to be sitting pretty.
Oh
And
yeah.
I brought this to your attention the last time you were on. I said, "Oh, Jack, when does the draft start? This is there's not a a set. No, this is the number one guy, and then after 2, then now it starts. Okay,
Mhm.
you know, I had some time to reflect on this. I think perhaps the draft starts at 3 because Houston can really shake things up. Houston,
Yeah.
I know all signs are pointing to Reed going to Houston, but man, in our Locked On NBA final mock draft, Ricochet fell to 4. You know, because Houston, I forgot what Houston did, like a wild pick. I think they picked somebody else, but or no, I'm sorry, not Houston. I think it was Atlanta. They went with Klingon #1, and that just shook
Hmm.
up everything.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then I firmly believe it starts around 3 because I know Houston could take a read, but there's rumblings that maybe they might go Ricochet if he's on the board. Maybe
Yeah.
they might, do something like that. So I think all eyes will be on Houston and what they do with pick #3. But wow, I can't believe it. The draft is just hours away. Jeez, Jeez, this is like one of the most unknown drafts
Oh
I
yeah.
can think of. Pledger brought up the Anthony Bennett draft
Yeah.
as the last draft that everybody
Hmm.
didn't know what was going to happen. So
I think that one had a
yeah,
little more parity because Anthony Bennett, I mean, I don't think we're going to have a pick like that where literally Anthony Bennett was projected like late first round and then
hmm
blew up all the way to #1. I don't envision anything quite like that happening,
yeah,
but I mean, the first 3 picks, first 4 picks, I mean, it could be literally anybody. I
yeah,
mean, we could end up with Ricochet. We could end up
yeah,
with Sar.
yeah.
It could literally anything can happen in that top part of the lottery. So it's going to be exciting to see.
Yeah.
I'm stoked about it.
Hey, but before we get to the next segment and the second round thoughts here, real fast, what did you think of that report via Draft Express about the Spurs, piquing interest in Klingon at 4 if he was there?
I
If
mean,
you're
I'm not opposed to Klingon. I think,
okay.
he's double time natty. He's shown in his pre-draft workouts that he can step out and hit the 3. He's got, trajectory on that Brooke Lopez type of player, and I
Hmm
think there's definitely a lot of value in having another mountain of a man in the middle.
Yeah.
I just feel like when at last season, Wemby was at his most comfortable
hmm
when he was playing the
The
5.
5, yeah. That's the issue, yeah.
Yes, so I'm not sure I want to take a step back in a sense and just draft a big rookie to play with Wemby and make Wemby play the 4 when
hmm
he was thriving at the 5. I think I
Yeah.
would like to keep that comfortability and that trajectory going at Wemby at our starting 5. And I'm not drafting someone at 4 to come off the bench.
Yeah.
It's just not the value you want. So while I do like Klingon a lot and
Yeah.
it's super intriguing having them both on the floor, it's just not the trajectory of the team makeup that I think the
hmm
Spurs are going for. So I'm kind of out on Klingon at 4.
All right. All right. There you have it. Jack's thoughts on what the Spurs should do at 4 and 8, and my thoughts. Who do you have on your final big board? You can let Jack know on X at Jack_Thompson33. Let me know by simply going to the Locked On Spurs YouTube page and leaving a comment. When we get back, Jack's going to catch us up on some quick second round pick. Yes, the Spurs actually have 2 other picks in the draft, everybody. What should the Spurs do with those? Who are some names that Jack sees could possibly go into the Spurs in the second round? That's next right here on Locked On Spurs. And when I talked about FanDuel, look, I love sports. You love sports. You love them so much. You never want them to stop. Look, the NBA playoffs are over, NHL's over, and we're starting to get fewer games right now. But, basically the sports aren't sportsing as how you would like them to do. But FanDuel lets you keep sports going on whenever you want. All you have to do is open the app, dream up bets, and you'll have hopefully some nice winnings coming your way. This summer, FanDuel is looking to hook up all customers with a bonus or a boost daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. You want to go to fanduel.com/lockedon right now and start making the most of your summer. Look, it's easy to use, very intuitive, user friendly, easy to sign up, easy to download. I got it. You should get it too. FanDuel is where you got to go. Once again, you want to go to fanduel.com/lockedon right now. Hopefully you start getting those winnings in. Download that app. Go sign up right now. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
This is Emily Swallow, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back here on Locked On Spurs with Locked On Spurs' first overall pick, Jack Thompson, around this time of the year when it comes to the draft. He is back, everybody. The final hours are here. Draft 2024 is inching closer. It's going to be an exciting time for Spurs fans across the globe. But Jack, we've been neglecting the second round. And for everybody who does not know, the Spurs own picks 38, 35, and 48. Jack, what are you seeing? Who do you think are some names that could be going to San Antonio in the second round?
Well, for me, picking in the second round, I feel like you've got to attempt to get some guys that are ready to play right off the bat. The older guys, the guys that because of their age, their stock has just plummeted. And maybe they had bad showings in the combine or whatever you have it. Just guys who have been around. You'd certainly drafting a project in the second round. I mean, anybody who's worth the project status and is, worth that time, they're going, probably in the first round, unless you find some diamonds in the rough like
Yeah,
Giannis or Jokic or
yeah.
Manu, guys like that just come out of freaking nowhere. And there will be some of those guys. There's no
Mm-hmm.
doubt about that. There is every draft. For me, I really like Terrence Shannon Jr., combo guard, 3-2-3 out of Illinois, scores it at an extremely high rate. Man is a bucket with the ball in his hand. He shoots the ball tremendously well. He's hyper athletic, super fast, super strong, super explosive. I like him a lot. I like Adem Bona, big man from UCLA, 6'10", 6'11", built like Dwight Howard or,
Mm-hmm.
David Robinson, just chiseled out of granite, like
Kind of like
grown
you, Jack,
man.
right? Kind of like you,
Yeah, oh yeah, looks a
just like
lot
you,
like
right?
me.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly like me. But yeah, he's not a multifaceted player. He's a center. He is a lot like Jalen Duren. I mean, just huge, big dude, super athletic, will dunk on anyone, swallow up rebounds, block shots. I think he's got a tremendous value there in the second. Let's see. Kevin McCullers out of Kansas, 4-year guy. Got that Josh Hart type of build to him. He's going to be a tremendous 3-and-D guy that can also handle the ball at the point and run the show. I like him a lot. Harrison Ingram, transfer to North Carolina from Stanford, combo forward, can, grab the ball, bring it down for and run the point and get the offense initiated. He can shoot the three. He's very good in the post as well. He's a Swiss Army knife type player, and I think he's
Yeah.
got a lot of value. Um, it's tough, man. There's so many names in the
Yeah.
second round. There's a guy, I can't remember his name. His name's like Drusic or something like that. He
Mm-hmm.
showed out really well. Serbian forward. He killed it in the combine. The Spurs are looking at him just because
Mm-hmm.
he's international
Yeah.
and he's got a really high IQ and he can score the ball really well. Um, I mean that
Yeah. It,
I'm
it,
not
it sounds like the Spurs are going to have a lot of options, to get
Oh,
some.
there's a ton of options.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
while this draft is not superstar heavy, I think it's extremely heavy with serviceable NBA players that
Yeah.
can stick to a roster for years to come. I think
Mm-hmm.
that falls all the way into the second round with some of these guys. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if we've done our homework correctly and we have been scouting second round players, there are
Mm-hmm.
definitely guys we can take in the second round
Yeah.
that really they could have a shot to potentially make the roster off the bat, not just spend their first couple seasons or what have it in Austin. I think
Mm-hmm.
there are guys that could come in and make the roster and could get some rotational run right off the bat because they're 3-4 year guys. They've got high IQs. They know what the work is about and they're just going to come in every day and second round pick, come in and try and prove
Mm-hmm.
themselves every day. And you need guys like that on your team that are going to push everybody else to become
Oh, for
better.
sure. For
So
sure.
yeah, I think there's a lot of value to be had in the second round with the right picks.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the second round, players are not, or basically the second round overall, you used to have a stigma of, well,
Hmm.
okay, great, yay, whoop de
It's
doo.
not like that
It's not like
anymore.
that anymore. You can find serviceable quality players in the second round, and hopefully the Spurs will do that. Look, knowing the Spurs, they already have
Hmm.
scouted the entire globe by this point
Yeah.
for those, second round picks that could surprise everybody. But you look at this, I mean, I can't think of recent history. When was the last solid second pick the Spurs have had? I mean, not including Manu. I mean, that was just crazy. But I can't remember second round pick.
I'd have to
Yeah.
do some research on that. I can't
Yeah.
remember some of
Maybe the fact that we
the
can't
second
remember that
round.
it's been a while since the Spurs have hit something out of the park in the second round, or at
Where
least
did we
found
draft George Hill? He was late first round,
he
right?
was late
After
first
we
round.
won
Yeah.
the championship. Yeah.
Late first round. Yeah. But
Mm.
yeah, well, Jack, thank you for that second round update preview. Yeah, and by the way, the second round is tomorrow night.
Yes,
The NBA split
strangely
it up.
enough.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me. You do it in one shot.
You know why it is, right?
They're trying to copy the NFL.
No, it's because Bronny's being drafted in the second round.
Can you imagine if they go back to, oh, we're going to go ahead and go back to a single day after this draft?
I promise you the biggest factor was Bronny is going in the second round, and they want all the eyes to come back to see where Bronny's going to get drafted. I promise you that was the reason.
Would your night be ruined if the Spurs pick Bronny?
It'd be ruined. I mean, I'll take a second round flyer on Bronny. Ain't no problem there.
All that drama that'll be coming to San. Wemby wasn't enough with the attention. Imagine Bronny and San. Imagine Bronny, LeBron, because that's his son, and Wemby in San Antonio.
The thing
like
about
that.
Bronny, he ain't gonna be living in San Antonio.
Yeah, he'll be up in Cedar Park, Texas, playing with the Austin Spurs.
He'll be up I-35 in Austin. That's where he'll be. But
hey, well, Austin Spurs games will be sold out every night, probably.
I think that's why you take him at this point. Sure, he might turn into a good NBA player, but what he's gonna do from the jump is make you a ton of money, and that is worth drafting in the second round.
I would be disappointed if the Spurs pick Bronny. I would say, come on, Spurs, invest in something better. Even if it's a draft and stash, that has a lot promise. I'd rather take that. But could you imagine that media circus in San Antonio? I don't think Cedar Park, Austin would be ready for. Maybe Austin would be ready for it, but not Cedar Park. Little Cedar Park, Texas. With ESPN trucks out there, Ken's trucks out there. I mean,
we would have nationally televised Austin Spurs games.
Now that I'm thinking about it, the Spurs are probably listening to Jack right now saying, you know what? 48, Bronny's on the board. Take him.
Yeah.
Hey, a lot of NBA
lose.
Hey, a lot of NBA veteran players are saying that Bronny should go to San Antonio if they're serious about player development, and not for the circus, but just simple player development. Bronny in San Antonio would work well. But those are our final thoughts. Draft day 2024 is just hours away. Look at that OG shirt. What year is that one? That's 99. Look at that 99 Western Conference champs t-shirt.
The 05 finals. Gotta get all the.
Is that from your collection, or you went to a vintage store?
No, this is from my collection.
You can make for that. You flip
What's
that.
Up?
You know how much money you can make with flipping those?
I've worn this so much. It looks vintage at this point. I mean, it is a 25-year-old shirt, so.
He is Jack Thompson. Follow him on X at Jack_Thompson33. Do it right now. Send him your thanks for hopping on Locked On Spurs all the way up to draft day. We're probably not going to be done with them. We're going to get the aftermath, what his thoughts on the Spurs did after the final bell, when both rounds are over. So expect Jack to be back soon. Hey, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Ken's 5 Plus app. We are there. Locked On Sports Today, 24-hour streaming channel only on YouTube. 24/7 streaming sports on YouTube, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. So for Jack Thompson, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock in this episode of Locked On Spurs.